lost 800,000 over his viral song. What does that even mean? I was very interested when I seen this title, so we gonna react to it. We about to see.
Over a year ago, I made a video about the song 90mh, which, after almost 200 million
I'll react to DDG song after this.
streams, got banned off of Spotify. Since that video dropped, the creator of the song Trey Fuego is now in generational debt to Sony Music.
Damn.
And the way Sony went about getting this money is literally insane.
Damn.
I'm gonna try to go over this as quickly as possible. Back in 2019, Trey Fuego found this beat on YouTube that sampled the song Reflections by this guy. Either because he didn't know or didn't want to, he rapped over the beat and released the song without licensing the sample, which basically means he didn't have permission to use the song in the background. The song blew up on TikTok shortly after, and Trey Fuego was balling out. Well, maybe he wasn't balling out, but he was most likely spending a lot of the money he was making from the song.
You can get sued for using beats that you don't own? Oh, that's the end of my fucking rap career.
Song. This will be important later. Anyway, a few years later, Sony found out the sample wasn't licensed, and they sent him an email. Trey Fuego ignored it. So they submitted a takedown request to Spotify, and the song was taken down. This is where the story seemed to end a year ago, but it gets so much worse. In late 2022, Sony finally launched an actual lawsuit against Trey Fuego, but again, he ignored it and was nowhere to be found. Sony tried to find him 7 different times so they could serve him. They not only hired a private investigator to try to find him, but they went to the extent of literally going to his mom's house on Mother's Day, hoping to see him there to celebrate with his mom. Like, what? He was not even there, and his own mom said he didn't know who he was. Since they couldn't find him, the judge ruled that the label should just DM him on Instagram and his other social medias. And while the articles I read were like, oh, that's so insane how they let him do that, my only question is, why didn't they just do that earlier? Why'd they have to go to the extent of showing up to his mom's house and doing all that when they could have just DM'd him on Instagram? Also, I told my dad I'd get to 10K by the end of the year, and there's less than a month left. So if y'all want to help me out with that, I'd appreciate it. So anyway,
you got 10K, bro? You got 10K yet? He ain't got 10K. We gonna subscribe. Oh damn, I tried. Look, I'm trying. I can't subscribe. Yeah, I'll subscribe to that boy.
The judge finally ruled in Sony's favor and ordered Trey Fuego to hand over $803,000. Trey Fuego had apparently made around $700,000
Why the
from
fuck y'all
streaming
want
earnings.
800?
So assuming he didn't waste any of that, which he probably did, then he's got that covered. But adding on to that, there's another $100,000 from licensing fees he should have paid to Sony to license the sample. So that means that even if he didn't blow a dollar from what he made, he would still be in debt for more than $100,000. I find this kind of insane because Trey Fuego genuinely added a lot to the song. Sony claims that he was trying to ride the coattails of Hinata's creativity and popularity, when we all know the beat is not the only reason the song did well. Of course, that's not how the copyright system works though, and just because he didn't license it, now he owes all of the song's revenue, plus 100 grand, plus 50% of publishing revenue and 20% of recording revenue. And worst of all, he was ordered to pay $2,000 for Sony's legal fees. What I find crazy is that Sony Music is the second largest music company on the planet, and the music division alone is worth $25 billion. Even the judge acknowledged this, saying that the case put one of the largest international entertainment conglomerates in the planet against a 20-year-old kid.
Bro.
But either way, he ruled that this David Goliath posture thing would not protect Trey Fuego from liability. Now, I don't know how much of the 800 grand is going to Sony Music and how much is going to the original artist of the sample, but either way, it's not like Sony needs this money, especially being petty enough to add on $2,000 from legal fees when we all know who could use that money more. It just makes this case look like Sony was being petty. Apparently, the judge said that he hopes this will serve as an $800,000 lesson for Trey Fuego to more carefully select the material he uses in his raps. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll ever forget to license a sample again, but you're basically burning 800 grand to give him a lesson. Now, Sony isn't completely in the wrong. Yeah, I still think this whole thing was incredibly petty on their part, but if they simply asked for the licensing fees or had only taken the song down, that would set a precedent for others that they could also not license their samples and just pay for it after it gets taken down if they want to keep it up. In my eyes, this seems more like Sony trying to make an example
record label, bro. That's fucked up.
Of Trey Fuego than actually needing the money or wanting to take his song down. Either way, I still think the $2K in legal fees were not necessary, although Trey Fuego didn't cooperate in this case at all, so fair enough. To quote 90mh, this case involves a young man that was too focused on getting dough to understand the broader implications of blah blah blah. To quote 90mh again, Trey Fuego likely imagined Sony wouldn't really want the smoke enough to persecute this guy, but they did. This is an actual paragraph from one of the articles, bro. Anyway, if you want to watch the original video made about this a year ago,
that's fucked up, bro. I ain't gonna lie.